Let's start with the video, Chapter 119 Summary. Joe was taken to Ming's father's residence. He had no phone, only 1,000 Thailand bahts, and wore pajamas. Ming's grandfather, Ming's father, Tong, Mei, and Ming, were all present. Ming's grandfather scolded the officer for bringing Joe in pajamas. Joe felt embarrassed and out of place, but Ming offered to get him suits from his car. Ming's grandfather stopped Ming, stating there were no outsiders. Ming and Joe sat together, with Tong and Mei giving contemptuous looks. Ming's grandfather asked Joe about his work, and the meal began. After dinner, Ming's grandfather asked Ming and Joe how long they've known each other. Ming responded, 1 year. Ming's grandfather then advised Ming about his relationship with Joe, mentioning family consent and potential regrets. Ming's father argued, but Ming's grandfather told him to let the boys live their lives and focus on his own. Ming's grandfather then hinted at an interesting future for Ming and Joe, who clasped hands under the table. Ming's grandfather, the head of the family, warns Mei about the consequences of her actions regarding a serious family matter. He tells her not to forget her principles and her surname. His stern tone frightens Tong. After dinner, Ming's grandfather tells Tong and Mei to return to their homes. Ming wants to stay the night, but Ming's father tells him to inform his mother. Ming's father then leaves with Ming's grandfather. Ming's mother tells Ming to ignore Ming's father's attitude. Ming and Joe plan to leave, but Tong calls out to Ming, asking for his help regarding his father's money matter. Ming reminds Tong of the consequences of his actions and tells him that he can't just rely on their family. Ming leaves with Joe, who is glad that they are free for the time being. Ming explains that his grandfather called them for a family meal to compromise with him regarding the matter. Joe doesn't want to get involved with Ming's complicated family matters, but Ming assures him that he won't let him drown. Ming expresses his desire to be with Joe without any apprehensions, even in his dreams. Joe agrees, saying that he wants that too. If you like this kind of video and want more videos, then subscribe to my YouTube channel. Only 8.7% of you had subscribed to my channel. Please subscribe, it will motivate me to make more videos like this. Thank you so much for your attention and participation. Let's continue with the video, Chapter 120 Summary. Spring arrived late this year, with warmth finally coming at the beginning of March. Trees and flowers in Joe's neighborhood bloomed, filling the season with vitality. Ming's father no longer interfered with Joe and Ming's relationship. Ming's mother softened her attitude and even invited Joe for a meal, showing interest in his situation. After their meal, Ming mentioned his mother's fondness for Joe, sharing that she liked Tong before but his actions became excessive. Joe jokingly suggested working out to impress Ming's mother and Ming, teasing that he couldn't stand next to a boyfriend without 8-pack abs. As Joe focused on helping Ming recover from his injury, he expressed concern about their inefficiency. Ming, with a satisfied expression, asked if Joe would still find him attractive even if he gained weight. Joe reassured Ming, but their conversation was interrupted by a call from Sol. Sol, who was leaving for America for several months, asked to meet up before his departure. Joe hesitated, and Ming tried to take the earphones to listen in. Joe declined Sol's request, stating they would meet when Sol returned. Sol expressed his hope that Joe hadn't made the wrong choice. Joe smiled, his eyes meeting Ming's, and softly responded that he hoped so too. Joe noticed Ming's dejected expression after a phone call. Ming seemed to be suppressing his emotions, making Joe feel uneasy. In the dim car, Ming told Joe not to consider other people, emphasizing that he only has him now. Joe assured Ming that he only thinks of him. They shared an intimate kiss, expressing their love for each other. Later, they visited Ing, who had accepted their cohabitation. Ing asked if they had eaten, and Joe gave her some fresh mackerel from Ming's mother. Ing, wearing glasses, discussed her medical file, mentioning her upcoming kidney transplant. Joe brought up the possibility of him being a donor, but Ng strongly opposed the idea. Ming tried to smooth things over, suggesting they find a donor elsewhere. Ng, adamant about not wanting Joe's kidney, expressed her concerns. Joe understood Ying's perspective, feeling indebted to her for taking care of his body. Ng asked Joe to promise not to think about donating his kidney, and he agreed reluctantly. They stayed with Ng for a while, eating dessert and watching TV. As they left, Ng expressed her feelings about Joe growing up and having his own family. Joe asked Ng to treat Ming like a son, making her eyes turn red with love. Don't forget to share this video and comment your thoughts about the series. Let's continue with the video, Chapter 121 Summary. Joe and Ming returned home after visiting Ng. As Joe hung up his jacket, Ming embraced him and began to caress him. Joe, however, wanted to discuss Ying's treatment. Ming, more eager than usual, told Joe that he needed to pleasure him, as Joe had told Ng to treat Ming as her son. Ming then revealed that his arm, previously injured, had healed. In other news, Joe's movie is set to start filming in 3 months. He has been practicing horsemanship and has lost 7 pounds. However, he is now too thin and is not satisfied with his figure. When trying on the dress-up for the role, he made a serious expression, noting the poor but noble feel of his reflection. The initial scenes to be shot are indoor scenes, and Joe does not need to use any weapons or his stuntman skills. But he finds this role more exhausting than being a stuntman, as the director has high expectations for his acting. In his spare time, Joe practices understanding his role and gets help from Ming, who is not expressive in his roles but has a grandeur eminence suitable for the film's production. Ming has decided to no longer act in any other movies unless it is for Joe. Joe and Ming continued their intimate moment. Ming entered Joe, causing immense pain but also intense longing. Ming completely owned Joe, and nobody could separate them. The two then cuddled and fell asleep, with Ming's arm wrapped around Joe. The next day, Joe woke up early and went to the set. He had a hard time getting into character. Joe became anxious and often had trouble sleeping in the middle of the night. Ming, unable to stand it, took 3 days off to help Joe practice his scenes. Overall, Joe and Ming's relationship is strong, and Ming is willing to set aside his work to help Joe with his movie role. Joe is also determined to get into character and satisfy the director's expectations. Joe is touched by Ming's help, which allows him to better handle his predicament. The entertainment circle is abuzz with rumors about them. Ming, who dislikes gossip, sees a picture of Joe helping him across the street. Joe jokes about Ming's long legs, and Ming playfully scolds him. Joe expresses his love for Ming, who wants more of Joe's time. They share a tender kiss, and Ming suggests they spend time together before showering. Their home renovation becomes another focus. Joe, attached to his old home, seeks Ming's opinion on living there. Ming, fond of their early memories, agrees to the renovation. They move to Ming's condo during the renovation. Despite their busy schedules, Joe's fame rises, and Tong faces a career crisis due to his father's illegal activities. Joe, content with his life, loses resentment towards Tong. They visit Ying's place and Ming's family home, where Ming's father starts communicating with them again. Thank you for watching. If you want to read the novel, then visit patreon.com/blspoilers. The link will be in the description. Special thanks to my legendary supporters Melanie Harris, Kiera Russell, Rebecca, and Brian Stargell, Chelsea 212, Suzanne 233, Tamara Kumar, MZT, Maria Lalbacan, Sharon Fong, Martina Bosankova, S. Armstrong, P. Pri, ed.